Thank you very much, Stelian, for this very nice introduction. It's great to be back in Cluj, in Apoila, Cluj. You know, Cluj remains young, remains dynamic, full of opportunities, and I'm really proud that I was 10 years part of its success. But now I'm going to talk about banking. Am cam 18 minute să vă vorbesc despre banking. I hope that I can convince that banking is not boring, banking is not toxic, and that there are still great opportunities, different opportunities than before in the banking sector. But let's first go back 25 years ago, when I started my career in banking. 25 years ago, wow. At that time, banking was in, banking was hot. Banking was a place to be, respectful, a career. People wanted to join the big banks to get access to new markets, knowledge about products, opportunity to have an international career, work in different places, and learn about the needs that clients have in terms of loans, deposits, etc. It was a great time. Now, 25 years later, ce se întâmplă? Banks are down. Banks are losing money. Banks are basically, or bankers are depressed. They are basically accused of everything toxic. No? The Swiss francs, franc helvetian, problem cu asta. The problems with credite hypothecar. The problems with sovereign debt crisis. You name it, a banker is responsible. And of course, right now a career in banking is not really very respectful, not very in. And you're making a lot of less money than before. So when I was a 27-year-old ambitious guy, having the opportunity to go all these places, I saw my career somewhere in New York. And I was in New York. But somehow I came to Cluj, to Zilau, and I had the time of my life. So it's not really the place where you are, it's what you can do. What kind of business you can do in banking. The entrepreneurial spirit, that's what interests me. Not talking about risk management, about technical issues regarding the interest rates, about what the central bank is doing or not doing. It's about what a banker can achieve. Cum putem realiza visele de clienții noștri. That's where I want to go back, because I believe that, indeed, in this period of times, banks have gone in the wrong way. And we all know what happened. The economic crisis that started with the collapse of Lehman Brothers and 2007. After that, everything went wrong. We realized that banks were not very wise in terms of risk management. Excessief in termen de creditare. We woke up with non-performing loans, non-credite neperformante. We woke up with countries that are not paying, type Greece, type Italy, etc. We were waking up that the clients were not happy with the products. And basically nobody wanted to have loans anymore. The demand for loans, for credit, that was so in during the period of 2002-2007, changed completely. And all these people in Romania, all these companies, individuals started to pay back the loans. Demand for loans dried up. And what was actually the consequence of all this crisis? Central banks started to make the crisis for banks even worse. Why? Because they reduced the interest rates. And you know, every bank is making money on high interest rates. When I came in Romania, in 99, dobânda era 100% în lei. Era super pentru banchier. Am câștigat banii, wow. Now, you know what Mr. Isarescu did? He reduced the interest rate to 1.75. Unde sunt în Olanda? Nu mai pot să cred. 1.75% compared to 110% in January 99. So, how to make money? So banking is down. The margins are very, very tight. They're losing money. Știți ce a pierdut Romania în anul 2014 în sector bancar? 1 billion euros. Pierdere cumulată în sector bancar. 1 billion euros. The total loans outstanding in 2014, 50 billion euros. Peanuts, nothing. You know that in the Netherlands, you know I'm from the Netherlands, so I use that all the time as a reference. Country 10 times smaller than your wonderful big country. Cel puțin 400-500 miliard de credite outstanding. E complet altă poveste. So, 50 billion. Interest rates 1.75%. How to make money? So banking is out. And I'm here in front of you. I want to try to convince you that there are still opportunities for people that think in entrepreneurial banking. And I want to discuss with you today in my speech 3 opportunities that I see that are arising in Romania at this point in time. The first one is mergers and acquisitions. The opportunity to, in this very difficult period, to recreate a winner, a Romanian bank, that can become a winner and can take over all these foreign banks that would like to leave, that are not making money, having huge costs, having tremendous supervision, control from the central bank. And they're not happy anymore to be here. They want to sell. The second opportunity is about IFN-uri, non-bank financial institutions. Dacă băncile nu mai creditează, aceste IFN-uri sunt specializate, ei creditează. Discutăm despre asta. And the third opportunity is about investment banking. You know, in all these countries where I worked and lived, from New York, Paris, Frankfurt, but also in places in Latin America, everywhere I've seen local investment banks owned by local investors to provide investment banking services. In Romania, nimic. That's the third opportunity. Now let's go back to the first one. I still have 10 minutes. Mergers and acquisitions. Ce se întâmplă în Romania? Aveți 40 de bănci. 1 billion losses last year. The top 8 banks control about, I would say, 50% of the market. There's so many foreign banks here, too many. I always said that. That's why I joined also, and I was happy to join BT. Because it was, and it is a local bank controlled here in Romania, and decisions are being taken here. It's not normal for a country in the European Union that 80-90% of your banking sector is controlled by foreigners. And you've seen it in the crisis. During the crisis, băncile străini s-au gândit cum rezolvăm problema acasă, nu cum să rezolvăm probleme în Romania. So, what is needed is to regain market share and to create local Romanian banks. Privately owned, not state-owned. I don't want to have anything to do with the state. Excuse me, Madame Macovei, but I don't want to have anything with the state. Imagine, all these banks are for sale. Asta in Grecia, in Italy, they want to get out because they're not making money, the interest rates margins are too small, costs are high, central bank supervision is painful. We see already consolidators. My old employer, Banca Transilvania, tocmai a cumpărat Volksbank. Este prima pași. Foarte bine. I hope they will continue this, and I believe that in the coming 5 years, by taking over all these foreign banks that are not doing well and are for sale, they can reach between 15 to 20% market share. Dar mai sunt oportunități. I believe that there is at least a possibility of 10-50% market share of foreign banks that would like to leave, that these could be taken over by Romanians. Think about it. If we want to have our destiny in our own hands. This is the time to think about it. The Greek banks, you know the situation in Greece. In Romania sunt cel puțin 4 bănci from Greek origin. If BNR and the Romanians would be wise, they would take over these 4 banks and maybe some others in a bridge bank, in a interim bridge bank, pull them together, restructure them and sell them to a noyau dur, en français, noyau dur, a group of Romanian investors that could run these banks much better than these international investors that have problems at home. This noyau dur could be investors like Fondul Proprietate, Sifur, Fondul Mutual, pension funds, and private investors. And you could create a new player that controls at least 10-15% of the market. And could, when Romania starts growing, and Romania is starting to grow again, when demand for loans is starting to grow, and it starts to grow, then you have again a player that could support the development of this country. And you create a banking sector which would be 40% controlled by Romanian investors and not 85-90%. You know, in the Netherlands, not only in the Netherlands, in most European Union countries, the banking sector is controlled at least 70% to 90% in the Netherlands by local banks in these countries. So that should be the example. That should be the lesson from the crisis that we had. Second opportunity, well, if the banks are not lending, why not start non-bank financial institutions? These non-bank financial institutions sunt ca băncile, dar nu iau depozite de populație. They don't take deposits from the population. They have their own money. And they grant loans to certain sectors. They can grant loans being specialized, being knowledgeable about certain sectors, to the medical sector, to the transportation sector, to the agricultural sector. Eu am ales partea agricultura, pentru că am văzut că România chiar merge foarte bine în agricultură și sunt oportunități super. You have to give access to the farmers to lending, to obtain credit. And if they go to a bank, bank talks about risk management and talks about whatever, but they're not doing the job. So there are opportunities for Romanians to be involved in non-bank financial institutions. You have to be innovative. You have to think solutions, not problems, but solutions. And you have to think about what else can be done. IT. You guys here in Cluj, in Romania, in Bucharest, everybody is so IT capable. There should be huge opportunities to develop all kinds of applications that could basically make these old banking ideas, old banking products completely obsolete. Think about that. Again, an opportunity in IT. Create units, create special financing vehicles that offer support to all these people that need loans, that want to take credits, but they're not eligible. The third opportunity, investment banking. Cât primiți la un depozit acum la Banca? 1%? 1.5% after taxes? Nothing. So, if you make nothing, place it in a deposit, you have to think about other opportunities. Invest in the stock market. Invest in the capital markets. That's the name of the game in the future. And there is unfortunately, not enough liquidity right now, but things will change. We will see more investments in the stock market. I believe that in the coming 5 years, at least 10 billion euros will enter into the stock market. 10 billion euros, finding its way in the stock market, in the capital markets. The market will need smart Romanians that create investment boutiques, advice, consultancy, research, analysis, intermediating between depositors, investors, and companies, individuals that need bonds, shares, etc. Again, a great opportunity to be involved, and you will see that this develops. There will be much more money available and much more money to be made in investment banking. So these are 3 opportunities for entrepreneurial banking in the future. 3 opportunities in Romania to be involved in entrepreneurial banking. So that's why I'm saying banking is down, but it's not out. It is what it is. Banking exists, the art of granting loans, of getting repaid, it exists as long as our civilization exists. Nu va dispar. Existed. And you know, if I'm right, and I think I will be right, all this lipsa de cerere de credit va schimba. There will be in the future again a boost of credit, nevoie de credit. And I believe that this total portfolio of loans could increase from 50 billion euros to 100 billion euros in the coming 5 to 10 years. 100 billion euros. And you know what the margins banks are still making? Banking is still very profitable. I've been calculating that you could make at least 2 to 3 billion euros, 2-3 miljard de euros, with that kind of business. Now that's interesting, no? Would you like to get a piece of that action? I think so. So that's why I believe we should really get back into banking. There are opportunities for many Romanians to be involved again in banking, but different, with different business models, with a different approach, more entrepreneurial, less using the lessons that we learned, less of the promise of the past. But if you fail to dare, you're not going to make it. Thank you very much.